In today's video, I'm going to share with you my 2025 comic collecting goals. Let's get into it. What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John and you're watching Old Stuff is Cool. Now I was debating whether or not to make a video like this to set a bunch of goals or resolutions, which is very common for a new year. But what I didn't want to happen was share with you a bunch of goals and then not meet any of them. That would be a huge disappointment for both me and you. However, after watching a video from Eric from SideQuest Comics, I was inspired to go ahead and just give this a go. And before I forget, a big thank you and shout out to SideQuest Comics. Eric had me on his monthly live show right after Thanksgiving. So I think it was right at the end of November, if not the very beginning of December. That was just as things were getting going on this channel. And I'm just so lucky that he reached out to me and I was able to meet some other very cool, very friendly content creators. Now, one of the big takeaways I had from his 2025 comic collecting goals video was it's okay to change your goals. As we're out there hunting for comic books in the wild, on the internet, we do know that our eyes and our focus can rapidly change depending on what deals are in front of us. And knowing myself, I know I need some help in focusing where to target my attention as far as comic books and even the bigger goal of saving up for some big boy books. I recognize from the past year of collecting that I love a good deal, and sometimes $1, $2 books are too hard to pass up, but ultimately that chips away at any sort of momentum I might be able to build to pick up some key issues, some big boy books, stuff like that. But before we get into my list of goals for 2025, you can help support the channel by doing all the YouTube things, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much in advance. All right, so I've split up my 2025 goals into two sections. We're talking about single books and runs. One other benefit of making a video like this is to revisit it in a year's time and see where we changed, see what we were able to accomplish, see what we abandoned, all that good stuff. All right, so first up, let's talk about runs because this is the shorter part of my list. In general, I think I'm phasing out of this as any comic book runs I really want to get that are longer, maybe 20 plus issues, I'm probably going to go get in some sort of collected format. That being said, a lot of these are holdovers from the previous year. And that first one is Iron Man Armor Wars. I am down to the last two issues, number 230 and 231. These aren't particularly expensive books, so I feel like this is one I can easily check off by the end of the year. So overall, a fairly easy one to accomplish, and I think it's important to have goals like this. And whether you have fitness goals or life change goals, it's good to have little milestones so we can build up and tackle the harder challenges. In fact, I think this whole section of comic runs is really much the appetizer leading up to the main meal. Anyhow, the second run I'm aiming to complete is Captain America, and this is the run by Mark Gruenwald and Ron Lim. This encompasses issues number 366 to number 386. I'm currently down to 8 issues, and this is one that won't break the bank. In fact, these comics can often be found in $1 or $2 bins or $1 or $2 shows on Whatnot, and that's primarily where I've gotten most of these books. In short, Ron Lim's one of my favorite artists, especially when I first started getting into comic books. I know he's not often in the same conversation as like Jim Lee or Todd McFarlane, but in this comic collector's heart, he's right up there. He's right up there. The third run I'd like to tackle is from the original Thor, and this is issues 364 to 366. This is Thor, the Frog of Thunder, or Throg, if you will. At one point, I was considering going after that Walt Simonson run on Thor, but I think that's better left in some sort of collected edition. It's kind of silly, but most importantly, it's fun. And I think a lot of modern comics are lacking fun. I mean, Thor as a frog. How can you not want to read that story? And funny enough, the Simonson Thor run will come up again later this video. The fourth series I'm trying to complete is Quasar from the 1990s. This is one, I guess a bit of a guilty pleasure book. It goes in that cosmic Marvel realm of things, which I am a big fan of. Mark Gruenwald is the writer here again. We just mentioned him back with Captain America. Phenomenal writer, a lot of heart. Luckily, I'm only missing Quasar number 24. Again, I thought I had it, but I guess long ago I somehow just missed that issue. This is not one that's going to break the bank, but I think it'll be fun rifling through back issue bins this coming year trying to look for this one. And last but not least, the 5th run I'm trying to complete is Brian Michael Bendis' Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm just looking for issues number 2 and number 7. I'm not looking to complete a full run. In fact, I think I'm up to issue like 106, but the only holes up to that point are issues 2 and 7. Some might find it a little dated, with the pop culture references or even the street clothes that Peter Parker, a teenage Peter Parker, and classmates are wearing, but I still think a very fun read, and one that if you're bogged down by trying to read the original Stan Lee, Steve Ditko run, Ultimate Spider-Man from the 2000s is actually a really good alternative. All right, so that's enough on comic book runs. Nothing too weighty there, but now onto the big books that I'm targeting for 2025. Now, I do want to mention that I'm not necessarily aiming to get all of these, but these are ones that if I go to any comic conventions, if I go into any new comic book stores, I'll be keeping my eye out for a good deal in general. So this first book is one that I've already been kind of poking around, seeing what current pricing, puts this book at, and I'm talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 252. This, of course, features the first appearance of Spidey's black costume, an iconic cover homaging Amazing Fantasy number 15, and along with Uncanny X-Men, Amazing Spider-Man is one of my favorite titles. And my second book is still in the realm of Spider-Man, and it is Amazing Spider-Man number 300. I personally like the cover better of number 252. I think that's driving its ranking there. But number 300 features technically the first appearance of Venom, although that's hotly debated. It also features some wonderful Todd McFarlane art, a cover that's been homaged, from multiple different publishers and characters. The price point of ASM 300 is also a little bit higher than the other books on this list, so I think it would take a little more planning and whatnot, but it's definitely one that I'd like to have in my collection, and even if it's one that appears on this list for another year or two, I'm perfectly okay with that. Next up at number 3 is Thor 337, featuring the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. I absolutely love that character. I mentioned that the Simonson Thor run was going to reappear in this video. Well, here it is with Beta Ray Bill. Such a fantastic character. I know he's maybe like B or C list. B if I was being generous. But there's just something about this horse-faced alien Thor that has his own hammer Stormbreaker that I just love seeing whenever he gets utilized in a story, team-wise or as solo. I'm just a happy camper. Also, a quick recommendation for Beta Ray Bill Argent Star. I don't know if this is in print, but it is a fantastic miniseries by Daniel Warren Johnson on both art and writing. Guys, check it out if you are even remotely interested in Beta Ray Bill as a character. Coming up at number 4, we have a Batman-related book, but it's not Batman. Oh, no. It's Batman Vengeance of Bane number 1, featuring the first appearance of Bane. I think because I got into Batman during that Nightfall storyline, Bane has always been one of my favorite villains. And not to mention the Gail Simone-written Secret Six, which Bane eventually joins as part of the team. It's kind of a Suicide Squad type idea. A team of villains that become like a family and are at odds with both the heroes as well as other villains. There are just a lot of great stories with Bane. In fact, on my to-read list is the City of Bane storyline, I think by Tom King. That's one that has been recommended to me. All that being said, I need to hunt down the first appearance of one of my favorite Batman villains. So that's why Vengeance of Bane, number 1, is here at number 4. Next up, number 5 is Transformers number 5. And this is a iconic cover featuring the Decepticon Shockwave. It is a badass cover. There's not really much more to it than that. How can you say no to that? It's just such a cool cover. Next up at number 6, we have Iron Man, number 150, and this is part 1 of Doom Quest. I was able to pick up part 2 of 2 from this little storyline earlier in 2024, so I gotta kind of complete the set. Granted, all Doom-related things might be a bit inflated right now, so I'm not gonna be too mad if I have to wait for our prices to come down. It's actually not too expensive a book overall from what I can tell, but we'll be keeping an eye on the pricing of this one in general. If it starts rising, as more rumors or more MCU related things come out, then I actually might pivot and save this book for a later time. However, this is another iconic cover featuring both Iron Man and Doctor Doom head to head, and I think I'm gonna have to maybe shell out a few more bucks because of the black cover. It shows spine ticks very easily. I mean, from the handful of copies I got to see in person last year, where they're mid-grade, though the black cover is not forgiving to any spine ticks. So I definitely liked a presentable copy. It doesn't have to be near mid, 9.8 or anything like that, but I would like a nicer condition one on this book. And last up at number 7 is actually a collection of books. We're talking about Uncanny X-Men: The Dark Phoenix Saga. I currently own 2 parts of the 9-part storyline, and I've actually kind of gone back and forth whether I want to pick up these single issues. Collectively, you know, price-wise, it adds up, and I don't know if I want all my comic budget to go into just this. I mean, granted, legendary storyline from the X-Men, but just back in November, I picked up one of the Uncanny X-Men Epic Collections, which has this whole storyline already in there. So while I would love to own a piece of history, this might be a more long-term thing. I do think me chasing down the Claremont run of X-Men is a long-term goal as well, and I'd like to focus my hunt on this storyline. So I don't think this is one that I'm going to complete in 2025, but maybe we can chip away at it. Just looking real quick, I felt like I should highlight 2 or 3 issues to, again, maybe give a little focus to the hunt. So I identified issue number 129, the first part of the Dark Phoenix Saga, to possibly target. And this is a big one. It has the first appearance of Kitty Pryde, Emma Frost, as well as the first cameo team appearance by the Hellfire Club. The other 2 issues from this storyline I'd like to keep my eye out for are 2 classic covers. Number 135, which is the Dark Phoenix interacting with the X-Men title. And the other one is issue number 137, featuring the death of Jean Grey and an iconic cover where Jean Grey and Cyclops are beaten, tattered, and cornered. So again, number 7 is the Uncanny X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga. Those are the 3 issues that really stand out to me. However, if we can get a good bundle going on, if I see some good, mid-grade copies of some of these books, I am not going to pass up on that. All right, so those are my list of 2025 comic book collecting goals. I'd love to hear from you. Do you guys have a list of goals, or do you like to keep things, more open and play fast and loose? Let me know in the comments below. You can also reach out to me over on Instagram, where I'm also Old Stuff is Cool. I'd love to chat comic books with you. But otherwise, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Take care.